Well, good morning, Beaumont. We got some fun stuff today. Lefties are going to hate this, but the mainstream media and liberals everywhere are going nuts because Edward Korestein, known by his sporting name, Big Balls, was given a new role in the federal government. Korestein will be joining the Social Security Administration, which he was seeking to cut out some of the fraud there with the Department of Governmental Efficiency. Don't forget they found some 15 million people over the age of 110 that were getting Social Security checks. Edward Korestein joined the Social Security Administration this week as a special government employee. According to Steve McGraw, his work will be focused on improving the functionality of the Social Security website and advancing the mission to deliver efficient service to the American people. Multiple sources at the agency also told Wired that Korestein had already appeared in person to work on site at the agency's Maryland office. One employee said they saw Korestein with Doge engineer Aram Mogadesi, a current employee at social media site X, formerly worked with Neuralink, and he is also serving at the Social Security Administration. So Korestein's new gig came after a White House official told Wired on Tuesday that the 19-year-old had resigned from his previous post. He was brought back 1 year later. His nickname was revealed during an interview with Fox News on Jesse Waters, and he explained that it was his LinkedIn name. He said the people on LinkedIn take themselves super seriously. They're adverse to risk, and I was like, well, I don't want to be any of those things. I said, honestly, I didn't think anybody would notice. This will surely enrage the liberals who are against Musk and Doge. Almost every move they made to expose the corruption, the bloated government contracts, the wasteful spending, and to show Americans how their tax dollars were being abused was met with resistance and personal criticism. This comes only weeks after the Supreme Court once again sided with Doge in two separate emergency rulings giving them access to the Social Security Administration data that had been previously blocked by a Marxist judge in Maryland. Earlier this year, the acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration reportedly left her position after a clash with Doge staffers. Michelle King protested them having access to what she thought were sensitive government records where they were actually handing out money to their friends and family. Now, Korestein is working for the very agency that she used to be in charge of. Washington is nothing if not comical and ironic, especially in the age of Donald Trump. Now this. In the wake-up call section, unidentified computer hackers working for the Sinaloa drug cartel were able to get phone records from the FBI, and then they used the Mexico City surveillance cameras to compromise key informants and witnesses so they could murder them. Now, this all happened back in 2018, but this is just now coming to light. The information was disclosed by the Justice Department in an Inspector General audit of the FBI's efforts to mitigate the effects of the ubiquitous technical surveillance system. The report cited the case against Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who used to lead the cartel and was extradited back to the United States in 2017. While federal authorities were working the case, they were alerted of the hiring of a hacker who had offered a menu of services, and this related exploiting mobile phones and other electronic devices. The hacker had observed people going in and out of the United States Embassy in Mexico and identified people of interest for the cartel, including the FBI Assistant Legal Attaché, and was then able to use his mobile phone number to obtain the calls made and received, as well as geolocation data. According to the FBI, the hacker also used Mexico City's camera system to follow him through the city and identify all the people that he met with. According to the case agent, the cartel then used that information to intimidate and in several cases kill potential sources and cooperating witnesses. The audit also highlighted how modern technology has made it easier than ever for less sophisticated nations and criminal enterprises to identify and exploit vulnerabilities created by the data from everyday items like smartphones and personal computers. Some within U.S. intel community, including CIA officials, described the threat as being existential. This should send a message to the U.S., however, that computers have become the new battlefield and we are still vulnerable in this area. You know, if the federal government expanded funding and continued using all the technology at its disposal, drug cartels still can gain the upper hand. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking, like Maxwell Smart, how it goes in through the cleaners and then takes the elevator. I don't know. I think we maybe need to get into some of that kind of technology because obviously the cartels were able to use this to kill a number of our people. One of the greatest investments this country could make, aside from cyber terrorism units and the training of current agents, is specialized education for our young people. By training a new generation of hackers to counteract these anonymous killers, we can ensure there's a future firewall against murder, financial crimes, blackmail, and other efforts to harm the nation. This would require a major education reform that removes the propaganda from the classroom and restores a culture that values merit-based achievement. The audit also revealed the lengths that drug cartels will go to if they see someone standing in their way. Donald Trump understands this threat. That's why he issued an executive order designating certain cartels as terrorist organizations. Trump's action rightfully stated international cartels create a national security threat beyond that posed by the traditional organized criminal operations. Their activities converge between themselves and a range of extra-hemispheric actors, from designated foreign terror organizations to antagonistic foreign governments. Once again, if you watched some of the recent stuff on there, the Tom Clancy show that was on Prime, I'm trying to remember the name of Jack Ryan. Yeah, it showed you how the drug cartels are working with the Chinese in order to take advantage of America. It also explained how they developed complex adaptive systems characteristic of entities engaged in insurgency and asymmetric warfare and managing to infiltrate into foreign governments across the Western Hemisphere. The cartels have engaged in a campaign of violence and terror throughout the Western Hemisphere that has not only destabilized small countries with significant importance to our national interest, but it has flooded the United States with deadly drugs, violent criminals, and vicious gangs. Trump added the cartels functionally controlled through a campaign of assassination, terror, rape, and brute strength nearly all of the illegal traffic coming across our southern border, right here in Texas. They might as well be a rogue state. They are hell-bent on handing out human misery for higher profit and personal power. The only answer is to eliminate them through any means necessary. I'm with Donald Trump on that one. We need people to remember us and think good things about us every day. We need to give gifts to friends, loved ones, and customers, and that's why you need to go see my friends Brian and Christina at crazynestcreations.com. There you will find amazing custom t-shirts, coffee mugs, and incidentals that are going to make their day. You can find a t-shirt for your honey from the great Stylized Owl collection, or something for your friend or client or customer to cement your relationship for years to come. Don't forget, you have to get reelected to be grandma, grandpa, aunt, or uncle of the year, and that requires gifts. So crazynestcreations.com gives you an inexpensive way to engender warm and loving feelings for a lifetime. crazynestcreations.com, crazynestcreations.com, crazynestcreations.com. Go there today. Get those goodies for your friends, loved ones, and clients. You won't regret it, and they're going to remember you.
Recently asked my friend's little girl what she wanted to be when she grows up. She said she wanted to be the President of the United States. Both of her parents, liberal Democrats, were standing there. So I asked her, if you were president, what would be the first thing you would do? Well, she replied, I'd give food and houses to all the homeless people. Her parents beamed. Wow, what a worthy goal, I told her. But you don't have to wait until you're president to do that. You see, you can come over to my house right now, and you can mow the lawn, pull weeds, and sweep my driveway, and I'll pay you $50. Then, I'll take you over to the grocery store where that homeless guy hangs out, and you can give him the $50 to use toward food and a new house. She thought that over for a few seconds, then she looked me straight in the eye and asked, why doesn't the homeless guy come over and do the work, and you can just pay him the $50? I said, welcome to the Republican Party. Her parents are still not speaking to me.
And for those of you who read the book 1984, and there was also a movie, the movie was okay, but it wasn't nearly as good as the book because there was just so much stuff in the book. But in 1984, we had a man by the name of Winston Smith, and Winston Smith's job was to go back over history and change it to adjust to whatever today's norms might be. Over in North Korea, they had a brand new battleship that they were getting ready to send out on its maiden voyage, and somehow, we're just not quite sure what happened. The state-run Korea Central News Agency described the damage as not serious. Youngin, who was in attendance watching as the ship sank, said the act was severely damaging to the country's dignity and pride and resulted from absolute carelessness, irresponsibility, and unscientific empiricism. According to the New York Post, two of the high-ranking officials involved have since been retconned out of existence in old photos, which means they no longer exist, according to Korean history. I'm sure Winston Smith, or the ghost of him, was definitely involved in that. But whenever they do that, things aren't good. Admiral Kim Myong-sil and Hong Kil-ho, who are responsible for operating the shipyard, have both been expunged from all North Korean photographic records. And they are being blamed for the Hermit Kingdom's inability to launch this new battleship. The ship apparently became unbalanced as it lowered into the water, which wrecked parts of the hull, leaving the bow of the 5,000-ton vessel still on the shipway. Some people fear that they were not just erased from the photos, but they were absolutely executed as well. I'm telling you, it's tough. Well, when this happens, you leave things to one of the last pure adherents of the form of Stalinism, the scion of the brutal Kim cult of personality. The Post reports that Kim was also making it seem like everything was hunky-dory after the ship was righted, saying it was convincing proof of the rapid transformation of our Navy. No one will doubt the rapid transformation of our Navy as they've witnessed the launching of another new type of destroyer/submarine less than 2 weeks after a similar event. And of course, you want to make sure that this unstoppable, powerful current of history doesn't prevent your destroyer from capsizing while you're lowering it into the water, and there's some serious motivation. Well, be glad you live in Texas. See you guys tomorrow. You have a choice, and you chose Freedom 1300.